Magic 87.6, always a pleasure. Mathew Dickerson, hello.
Hey, good morning. Great to see you again, Andrew. Not see you, talk to you again, sorry.
Yeah, I know, right? Non-visual media, Matt. I know it's
Absolutely.
early.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. It's hard to believe that they are now a part of our lives, but 30 years since the mobile phones were turned on in Dubbo, and I suppose Mudgee wasn't far behind that, were they?
The region certainly was very much the same time frame. So Dubbo was turned on about the same time as Orange, Bathurst, Mudgee, etc. So all around that same time frame. So I can't give you the exact date of Mudgee, I'm sorry, but 26th of July 1990 was Dubbo's turn-on date, and I know that because I was there when it was turned on, and I got to sell the first mobile phone in Dubbo with the specific mobile phone prefixes for Dubbo. And it does seem crazy, but back then all mobiles started with 018, and then they assigned a three-digit prefix for an area. So Dubbo, the Dubbo region, had the prefix of 636. So they'd only left three numbers left for the region. So effectively they were saying 1,000 numbers, that should be enough for the entire region of Dubbo. Obviously that's a bit silly now, but back in those days it was, well, I remember being pretty excited. If I sold one mobile phone in a week, I was pretty excited about that. But mobile phones were $5,000. So it was a little bit of a different sale compared to now. And I know phones are getting back up there. Some of the more popular models are up around $2,000, but no one pays $2,000. They just pay a certain amount on their bill. So to fork out $5,000 in 1990 money was a big thing for people to do at the time.
Yeah, I one of my first jobs, Matt, when I was trying to find myself was actually working in a mobile phone shop in Sydney.
Oh, cool.
And yeah, I actually sold phones when they were in the GSM era. So they were the first digital phones, and they were like $2,500.
Yeah, yep.
And they were really expensive. But one of my jobs was to actually churn people over because you could tell who was on what network by the prefix. Because if you were on 041 9 through to 0415, I think, were the Telstra numbers, and Optus had their own numbers as well. And so what you do is you just sequentially dial, and you'd always get someone because they were in that prefix. And I remember once I kept ringing people going, oh, yeah, I'm ringing from blah, blah, Telstra. And they go, oh, yeah, I'm already signed up with Telstra. And there was one guy in this branch that I worked in, and there was $35 to churn someone over, Matt. In one day, he made $15,000 in commission just by turning people over. I quit that day. I went, yeah, there's no more money in this.
And it's interesting because one of the big things that changed was mobile number portability. 2001 was when that was brought in. So you're spot on that you had different prefixes. I remember that obviously it was 018 back in the old analog days, but when digital started, 0418 for Telstra, for example, 0414 was, of course, Vodafone. And so you would see someone's number. And even today when I see someone's number, if they've had it for a long time, I kind of have a bit of a guess. Oh, you started off on Optus, or you started off on Vodafone. So, those numbers, exactly as you talk about, you had those numbers that was set prefixes there for the whole carrier. But, of course, now it's just you bring your number over. But one of the big things, of course, then was if you did change carrier, you had to change your phone number, which was a major drama.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. I remember that back in the day. If you want to change carriers, you had to tell people, change it and all this. It was a big hassle.
Yeah,
it was a big hassle. But it's kind of interesting now in the facts that you've sent me that there are now more phones in this country than there are actually people.
It does sound crazy. And when you think about it, that makes no sense at all. But when you break it down a bit more, when you think about many people have, for example, a tablet, or they might have a work phone and a personal phone, and you start to add it up and you think, yeah, look, it does make sense that you eventually get to that point. Obviously, people, babies don't have phones, so they're still counted in the population. But it's amazing how young people are when they're getting phones now. It's not unusual to see, well, if you get to high school and haven't got a phone, you're an outcast. But it's not unusual to see kids in year 3 and year 4, so mainly just getting into primary school, and they've got phones now. So, yeah, that 30 million subscribers for our, what are we, 25 million population is quite incredible.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, lots of people have been asking Google a lot of questions. What are some of them, Matt?
Well, not surprisingly, this is a breakdown. Google does it every 6 months or so. They've broken down the common questions people have asked for the first half so far of this year. And not surprisingly, a bunch of coronavirus questions. So I'm going to kind of flip over and skip some of those questions because there's so many related to those. So the top 5 questions were all coronavirus. The 6th most common question was, what does simp mean? So do you know what simp means?
No, I have no idea.
Well, it's a person who throws money around trying to attract women. And I think
Right.
the proof in the pudding is that doesn't work. I think you need more than throwing some money around to attract women. But the next few are related to coronavirus. The number 11 question asked is, how old is Addison Ray? And of course, Addison Ray is an American TikTok sensation, and she's 19 years old if you're interested. The next question
Yeah, right.
is, how do you make hand sanitizer? Is Kim Jong-un dead? So that's a common question. That's number 13 on the list of questions. So he is alive. Some may say unfortunately. Number 14 was, when is Minecraft shutting down? Because there were some rumours going around about Minecraft shutting down. That's not going to happen. So it's going to keep powering away. Number 15 question asked was, where can you buy toilet paper? So not a specific
Oh my
coronavirus
gosh.
question, but fairly closely related to it.
Really?
Skip over number 6. Sorry.
Yeah, no, I love number 18. Can dogs get coronavirus?
So there's a lot of them, even the toilet paper ones related to coronavirus. A lot of them related to coronavirus, obviously, because that's been the topic everyone's been worried about. And you know, why is everyone buying toilet paper was number 19. And then number 20 on the list, and again, this is one of those things that it's interesting to look at every year, but the final one is, when does JobKeeper finish? So people are finally worried about, after all the coronavirus questions about toilet paper, about questions about health, then finally gets to, oh, hold on, I might need a bit of money as well. So it is interesting to look at it every 6 months or so. The next 6 months hopefully won't be so focused on coronavirus, but it's something that I've looked at for a long time, are all those common questions. And it gives you a bit of an idea of what people around the world are thinking about. You can do a bunch of surveys as much as you like, but the majority of the population uses Google to search on things, so it gives you a pretty good snapshot on what people are thinking about.
I'd hate to see what the Victorian search results are right now, because they've just gone kooky down there. They could be searching anything down there.
Who knows what they're searching? Security guards? Where do I find a good security
Security
guard?
guards. Human rights. How do I get my human rights? Because apparently that seems to be the big thing in Victoria. They don't understand their human rights.
That's right. How many people are named Karen might be one of the things.
Karen, yeah. That's exactly right. Now, this is something that's affected our household, that Garmin users have been unable to sync their data because apparently they've been hacked.
Yeah, unfortunately, and I actually talked to some friends on the weekend who are Garmin users, and they were talking about not being able to connect, and I wasn't aware of the cyber attack at that stage, and I said, look at some of your settings, look at updates, the normal things you normally look at, but unfortunately they were hit with a ransomware attack. And if for a Garmin user who wants to upload their data, sync their data, check their friends, not being able to connect is a really big thing. And obviously Garmin bases part of their entire business model and all the products they sell based on the fact they can sync data. So with a ransomware attack, what they're doing is really trying to hurt a company financially. They stopped the ability for Garmin users to be able to sync, and then obviously said to Garmin, please pay us a large sum of money. We don't know what that sum that they asked for was, but please pay a large sum of money and we'll let people be able to access your information again. We now know they're back up and running again. We don't know. Garmin have not said whether they actually paid any money or not. I would hope not, but at some stage, some businesses may say, we're going to pay the ransom people are asking because our business needs to continue on. So they're back up and running. Things are working as per normal. We don't know what happened in the meantime. We do know that users' data hasn't been compromised, is one thing Garmin have said.
Yeah, nice. Because on Saturday night, my wife turned around to me. On Sunday night, my wife turned around to me and she said to me, she goes, "You're going to hate me tomorrow." I said, "Why is that?" She goes, "Because I can't sync anything and I can't get vibrate on my alarm. So I'm going to wake you at 6:30. And I went, "Oh, really?" And she goes, "Yeah, because my alarm, I can't do anything on my watch." I said, "That's all right." I said, "You know, I'm a heavy sleeper anyway. I'm not going to hear it." And she goes, "Are you sure?" And I went, "Yeah." 6:30, I slept straight through the alarm. I didn't hear it.
So does your wife like the impersonations you do of her?
Yeah, no, she loves it, Matt. She absolutely does.
Not trying to get you in trouble here or anything, but I just hope she doesn't listen to this segment.
Oh, no, she listens to a lot of stuff. Even when she's not on the radio, she knows. And then she turns around and goes, "You did that bloody half impersonation of your mother and half me, didn't you?" And I went, "No, I haven't done anything."
It's now even worse. Now you're mixing your mother and your wife together. It doesn't get much worse than that, does it?
No, I better stop before I get myself a real caca, shouldn't I?
That's right.
Now, COVID-19 has helped a lot of stuff, but has it helped solar production?
Well, amazingly, yes. There's some reports coming through that in places like Delhi, where they've got obviously a huge amount of congestion, huge amount of pollution, it's actually increased solar production from solar panels there by 8%. Now, logically, we live in an area, obviously, that's got nice clean air. There's lots of solar farms around Mudgee, so people obviously like the area around here to produce solar or produce electricity from solar. But in places that have got that pollution, they probably aren't as aware of it until COVID-19 came along. You can imagine saying to a large city, just shut down for a few weeks and we'll see if we can produce more power. They would have been laughed out of any boardroom or any organisation that was asking that. COVID-19's forced the shutdown, and now it's kind of this whole thing that is I suppose, a spiralling benefit. You get less pollution, therefore you produce more electricity with something like solar, and then if you're producing more electricity with solar, then you can create less pollution through fossil fuels. So it's a great outcome, but again, I think you're looking for positives in COVID-19 all the time, and this might be one of the positives where maybe we can see some more evidence, some more proof come through that we maybe can use more renewable power going forward.
You know, it's all part of the conspiracy, Matt.
Of course it
COVID.
is. Of course it is.
Yes, it is. It is. It's a way to turn human beings back. That's what all this is about, because, you know, we've fixed the pollution issues, and apparently money is the root of all evil. So we're going to cashless societies, and next, you know, we're going to stop using fossil fuels and everything's going to go to solar. And
you keep talking like that, you'll be taken off the air next week, Andrew.
People know when I talk like that. I'm saying facetiously.
Men in black vans will pull up outside your radio studio, and you'll be thrown in the van, and we'll never hear of Andrew Andrews again.
Some people will rejoice in that fact, Matt. COVID's done a lot of stuff now. Wills, of course, if you witness it by a video link, it's now legal, right?
In the UK, they've just made it legal, and often what we've found with coronavirus is things that happen in one part of the world happen in lots of other places around the world. So this may be something coming to Australia as well. The previous process in the UK was that you had to have two witnesses. They couldn't be beneficiaries of the will, which kind of makes sense, and they had to be physically there when you signed the will, and then they had to both witness the will. With people in that are making wills or changing wills, often in that risk category for COVID, the age of them might put them in that risk category, then obviously it's not a great idea to have people gathered around. You probably have a solicitor there as well. So you've got 4 people at least in a close proximity signing a will. So they've now made it legal that you can actually have a video conference or a video call, or actually just record the signing being done of the will. So you can basically end up with your will, your paper version of the will, and then you have some electronic things with it, the videos of people being associated with it, actually witnessing that will. So the rules are still the same. You've got to be over 18. You can't be a beneficiary of the will, but now you don't have to be physically there when the will is actually signed. So I think this is a good thing, and I think we're seeing with a whole range of things around legislation and technology, they're being accelerated because of COVID-19. And again, I think it's just compressed a lot of that development into a very short time frame because we've had to do it.
You watch, someone's going to get really creative here with the editing somewhere, and you watch, someone's going to end up challenging this at one stage.
Well, I'd be surprised. I was very surprised if that didn't happen. People love to challenge wills and fight over that money after someone's gone. But yeah, look, hopefully a video, I mean, it's pretty comprehensive, you would think, of video, but people can manipulate videos. They can use deep fakes. That's obviously part of the AI process we've seen where they're creating deep fakes. But obviously the UK has got enough confidence in that not happening to make this legal. Yeah,
you're going to have to watch though, especially when one of the family goes, I'm sorry, I just need some makeup before we do this. And if you can just put a little bit, I just want to look good for the signing. That's all. I don't want to look like trash, and I don't want to look like I'm desperate for the cash.
Well, that's all true. And you raise a good point though. The person actually signing the will, obviously the time they will look at that video will be the time when they're no longer with us. So it'll probably be a slightly different way to look at the will later on. And again, normally you would read the will, but this time you might watch the will or watch the person in the will.
I know, right? I can see it now. I got Jeff right. I'm so grateful he left me lots and lots of money, but oh my God, my eyeliner's running and I looked like trash in that shot. Why did you shoot it like that, Jimmy?
Yes, that might be one of the major issues.
I know, right? This is big news for the region because apparently a space company is choosing the Blantyre.
Blantyre. I love what the Blantyre's been doing. Of course, you may remember they joined forces with Dull in Scotland and Boring in the United States when they had a Bland, Dull and Boring marketing campaign promoting those three different regions, which I thought was very clever. They've now teamed up with Thunderstruck Space, and they're using Blantyre as a place to launch these remote-controlled spaceships. And they go up into the lower stratosphere, or into the stratosphere, about 23 kilometres above the Earth. They stay there for a few weeks, maybe a month at a time, and they monitor things, illegal fishing, border patrol, that type of thing. And so they need somewhere to launch on. They need somewhere that's fairly flat terrain, not a lot of built-up area, not forest, that type of thing, because they need to bring it back down somewhere, and they're not perfectly able to control where the landing might be. So they've chosen Blantyre as somewhere to start launching those from. So it's moving Blantyre into the space age, which I think is absolutely fantastic.
That is absolutely wonderful. Go get them. And I know they got a big government grant as well to kind of do all this. So it's a nice injection of cash into the area.
Yeah, and I'm not sure how much money it will generate. I think it will give them more advertising and more ability to market themselves. I don't think it's something that's going to employ thousands of people in the area. But again, any of those things that you can look for to market yourself, and again, that whole marketing campaign with the Blantyre before, now they're talking about being part of the space race, part of the space age. I think all these things are good for their overall marketing and for businesses in that particular region.
Yeah, because you know what? Someone decided to put a giant dish in the middle of a sheep paddock in Parks, and look what happened there.
Yeah, that's right. Still going, 50 plus years later, still going as a tourist attraction. Yeah. And obviously used for practical purposes as well, but still bringing people to the region.